Right, so let's move to this one. So this comes from Bubu Murphy. And again, let's practice our pre-reading advert. So we remember the AIDA principle. We've done that, super dupes. Now we're doing our during reading. I think with this one, we'd want to know, what is this? So we'd go down and go, South African guide dogs. Okay, so what do we know about guide dogs? So they are specially trained, and they are given to blind people so that those people can operate as fully as possible in the community. So that's something else that's really important, is you have to have stuff inside your head so that when you see guide dogs, you aren't going, what's a guide dog? That you have some idea of, let's say, the debate that's been around guide dogs. We know that dogs aren't allowed in restaurants, but then there have been protests when guide dogs have been barred from a restaurant because the blind person needs the guide dog. It's not a pet. It's part of their life. It's much more than a pet. It is a companion. You cannot separate that person from the dog. So, you know, all of these things should come into your mind, that you remember all of this and you know what it's about. So activating your neural pathways, which I'll come back to if I can later, that's terribly important. But there's got to be something there for you to activate. So the more you read and talk and discuss and watch television and play computer games and do all of those things, so that there is stuff inside your head for the text to interact with. So I was talking to one of my students earlier today and saying to him, are you worried about paper one? And he said, well, sometimes I really get the comprehension and sometimes I don't. And part of that is that sometimes the topic is something he really understands. And he thinks, yeah, I know about this topic, so it all makes sense. The text makes sense, the questions make sense, and his answers are superb. But there are other times when he's less sure. And it's not just vocabulary. I know that it can be vocabulary, but it's not just that. It's because the whole idea of guide dogs, are we into guide dogs? Are we seeing people with guide dogs? And if we are, then the whole thing's going to make a lot more sense. So that's also part of our pre-reading and our during reading. Okay, so now we know this is an advert about guide dogs. Okay, so this woman is blind, and she's got her hand on each of these dogs, and they will be guide dogs. And we've got the sun here. I don't know how visible this is. Okay, I'm just trying to make it nice and bright and yellow. Yellow, very yellow. It's the sun. Okay, right. So my friend, who is her friend? Her friend is the dog. My eyes. Why is the dog her eyes? Because the dog sees. These are seeing dogs for the blind person, and therefore my sunshine. Now activate everything you think about this bright yellow sun. Right. What do we think about? Obviously light, joy, happiness. Hope, possibility. Let's make that plural, possibilities, because you can see something that's going to happen for you. So she is saying that the guide dog brings her eyes, friend. So that's the idea of a companion, somebody who's always with you, somebody who is looking after you and looking, you know, has got your back, basically. My eyes, if you can see, then you can do things, you can act. So in this way, when I said here that the blind person can be as fully part of society as possible. These are the possibilities that you can operate within what is predominantly a seeing world. You won't be excluded. You will be included in that world. Right, then it says 10 Rand will lighten the path. Whose path? The path of people like this woman. Whose 10 Rand? Mine. Please SMS sunshine to that number. So if I send the SMS, I will be providing 10 Rand. What for? To train these dogs, so that these dogs can be selected and trained and then given to a blind person. So we're interacting with the text. Then we come to the post-reading. What must the reader do to donate? Well, we saw that. We've answered it. In what 2 ways does the advertiser emphasize the idea of sunshine? So how do we get the idea of sunshine? They want picture and they want text. Well, we picked it up. We colored in the sun in yellow, and we actually highlighted the word lighten, will bring light. Please remember that that en is to make light. That en suffix is to make something, whatever. Strengthen, lighten, darken, make strong, make light, make dark. All right, so we've answered that. We're okay there. Then the bold font, we answered that. We've done it in great detail. It's for 3 marks. Let's go back and have a look at what we said. We said companion. My eyes, we said, will enable the person to do and act within the community. And my sunshine will bring joy and happiness. There are 3 points. We can choose the best 3 points and put them down there. Now, whose attention? The only time we talked about us is when I said, who's 10 Rand? And I said, mine. So here we've got the audience. So who's it appealing to? Obviously, somebody who has at least a bit of money to donate, and somebody who cares about others, cares about the blind, cares that society is inclusive and not exclusive, and cares enough to donate some money to try to bring about that inclusivity. Fine. Then does the picture of the woman support the message? So say to yourself, what is the message of the advert? The message is to ask for a donation. Are you likely to donate looking at that picture? Well, yes. She looks so happy. The dogs look happy and healthy. And you would feel, well, why not? Look what it brings to her. Look what it does for her. Look how cheerful she looks with the dog. So, yes, the picture does support the message. Now, remember how you start this. Don't start with the picture. Start with the message. So this is first. And then you say how the picture encourages you to donate money to the South African guide dog, to get on your phone and SMS that to that number. Okay, so Boo-Boo, what was the problem? What were the difficulties? Where's the trouble? All right, is it, again, what I was saying to the previous student? Are you perhaps taking it too fast? Are you seeing it as more difficult than it actually is? Notice that when we read as actively as we could, we'd answered quite a few of the questions before we even came to them. So is it that you're not practicing that process of reading, especially that during reading section? Give me a clue. Tell me a little bit more when you send through the questions what it is that you don't understand or what it is that you're asking me about. Okay.